All We Can Take, written by TallTalePony. Pinkie ran a hoof around the rim of her teacup and held her eyes down, afraid to meet her mare friend's stare. She didn't have to. If the gears turning in Twilight's head were any louder, Sugar Corner would be mistaken for a clock tower.
Of course I do, Pinkie.
Are you sure?
Twilight reached across the table and stopped the pink pony's nervous movement. The latter, surprised by his sudden gesture, finally returned her gaze.
Yes, I'm sure. I'd think I know if I didn't love you.
Oh.
Pinkie's eyes dropped again to their interlocked hoofs.
Duh. I was silly to ask.
No, Pinkie.
Twilight tightened her grip.
Don't say that. You asked because you were worried, right?
There she went again, being understanding and calm. It was the same whenever Pinkie tried to press her on relationship stuff, and though it was obvious Twilight was trying to be nice, it just made the pink pony feel stupid and selfish for doubting her.
Yeah, but they're silly worries. I know you would tell me if something was wrong. Really, I do. It's just...
Come on, Pinkie. You can tell me.
A knot worked its way into Pinkie's stomach, as though her breakfast and lunch were in a death match. She tried to remember what Rarity preached about being honest, but her enthusiasm was weaker now. She wanted to tell her mare friend everything, but she knew it would come out sounding ridiculous.
It's just...
she began, but was unsure of how to finish. She bit her lip and pushed past her jittery nerves.
It doesn't feel like we spend time together like we used to. And I know you're busy with royal duties and everything, but I really miss you, and I don't like having to schedule stuff way before I get to see you. And I really miss being able to spend nights with you. And...
Anything else she could have said escaped her. She could almost hear the clicking of Twilight's thoughts again, and it made her heart sink into her bowels with more force than a fermented fruitcake.
But Pinkie, this isn't the first time I've been busy like this. I've had projects and duties before, but eventually it gets better.
But you know it's different this time!
Pinkie snapped. She cast a nervous glance around the bakery, then continued in a hoarse voice.
It seems like I'm always going to be alone now. And all I can do is sit around and wait for you.
That's not... I mean, it's different during the holiday season, when you're busy with parties. Then I have to wait around for you.
I guess so.
They were silent and listened to the surrounding chatter and movement. Twilight's grip remained tight around Pinkie's hoof, but the latter did not return the gesture. Pinkie looked up into the soft, violet eyes across from her. She pushed a harsh swallow past the boulder in her throat and squeaked out a simple question.
So, can I ask you something?
Anything.
Can you make me a promise?
Twilight hesitated, and panic flared in Pinkie's chest, but the former did not loosen her grip. Finally, she nodded.
Can you promise that you'll at least try to spend more time with me?
Twilight's pause was longer this time and more pregnant. She didn't release her mare friend's hoof, but the pink pony felt more adrift than a plank in a hurricane. Pinkie felt a tingle in the back of her throat, and her eyes were beset by mist. For the first time that day, she squeezed Twilight's hoof. She felt a tear in her chest when the lavender alicorn looked away. The latter cracked her muzzle, and a simple, devastating quiver escaped her.
No, I can't promise that.
The mist in Pinkie's eyes found its way down her cheeks. She clutched Twilight's hoof, but the latter's grip was loose now.
Oh, okay.
Pinkie pressed her mare friend's hoof again. She wanted to look into her eyes again, but the beautiful, violet orbs were lidded and sullen. She tried to stumble through things to say in her mind, but nothing of worth came to her, so she relented and asked the first thing she could think of.
Do you want to break up then?
She didn't know why she asked it. The last thing she wanted to do was break up. Twilight was silent again. She withdrew her hoof, and with it, Pinkie's heart.
That would probably be for the best.
The tears streaming down Pinkie's face matted her fur and dripped into her tea. She heaved, but restrained herself in favor of a silent sob.
So, what now?
She rubbed a hoof under her eyes and tried in vain to find Twilight's gaze.
I should go.
The princess's voice cracked, but she kept her face turned away from her exes. She placed her hooves on the table and stood, but was halted when Pinkie reached out and grabbed her foreleg.
Please, I don't understand.
She held her voice down with difficulty.
Please, don't be upset. We can work it out like we always do.
Twilight pulled out her grip and turned towards the door.
This is for the best.
Those words, those horrible, horrible words, like the executioner's axe against the neck of a healthy relationship. A feigned self-sacrifice that undermined protest and disarmed the weapons of argument. Pinkie floundered upon them and blurted out the only thing she could.
Please! I still love you!
Twilight continued towards the door, faltering in her stride for only a moment. Pinkie stretched a hoof out after her ex. She sucked in air past her tears and whispered, half to herself, the only other question she could think of.
Is this the last time we'll talk?
The princess paused, but didn't turn around. She shook her head and turned to the side, enough for a visible glint from the corner of her eye.
Yes.